What's this? I got a text message. Nicholas H. is in bed with Frank the Tank. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. Oh, well, I mean, that's going to be a clash because Nicholas H. smokes Newports. I have it on good authority. Frank the Tank smokes Marlboros. So they're going to have separate ashtrays, and there's going to be problems. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to get on there. I'm going to be in big trouble with Billy Wack when he comes back. Welcome to On the Mat. I'm Ritchard T. Coming off a really big weekend with Battle of the Belts. It was a who's who of local professional wrestling. Saw everybody there from Chi-Town T to Cinnamon to Nicholas H. Who else was there? Butcher was there from P.L. Myers League. I didn't see Sam Hart till the end when she was walking out with Billy Wack. Yes, I have it on good authority that Billy Wack and Sam Hart are an item, and what lovely children those two would have. Billy Wack played out his whole scenario with Sam DeCero. More on that in the coming weeks on the Mat because we're going to have a big Battle of the Belts report. I also have it on good authority next week right here on the Mat. In our next show, we are going to bring you in its entirety Vito Two Fingers Fontaine taking on none other than Al Snow from Battle of the Belts. I got hot footage coming up. And more on belts and their big show coming up. But tonight with our big opening bout, we're featuring another former Windy City star, present Windy City star, great trainer, great Chicago wrestler, Steve Boz taking on Thunderfoot from Chicagoland Pro Wrestling, Frank the Tank Melson's league. Now, Frank the Tank, I got to say, this is a guy, I've never actually met Frank the Tank. But I've gone on and had, like, how can I say, being a student at Windy City, when you get there, there is Frank the Tank memorabilia spilling over. He's on the cover of several of the Windy City magazines, so you see him. Not to mention he was all over the wall, and I think Sam even had a plaque in his office, something to do with a magazine article. Nicholas H., you can probably confirm this. Frank the Tank is a darts champion, or former darts champion. Is that correct?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Professional darts.
Professional darts. So I got to say, I mean, this begs all kinds of questions, all kinds of scenarios. He used to work for Sam. I've heard some rumors that Frank the Tank Melson, in his office at his Chicagoland Pro Wrestling Studios, he's got a picture of Sam DeCero mounted on the wall, and there's a dartboard grid around it, and he does target practice at Sam's face. So this is what I've heard. It could just be a rumor, but Frank the Tank Melson, dart champion, wrestling promoter, and we've got some really interesting stuff. We've got some mic work with Frank the Tank tonight we're going to get to. He's going to be making we're going to go to the match first, but we have got Steve Boz taking on Thunderfoot. It is going to be a barn burner of a match, and I also got to talk about some other things coming up. That Chicagoland Pro Wrestling's got a big show coming up at the Stratford Banquet Hall in Harvard, Illinois. We'll get to more on that later, but once again, CLPW, if you want more information on the promotion, go to chicagolandpro.org. All written out, chicagolandpro.org. More information on Nicholas H., the nasty Nicholas H., Steve Boz, I guess, is getting involved out there, and the aforementioned Frank the Tank Melson, big dude, actually former tag team partner of Bulldozer Rollins. You might know Bulldozer Rollins now, today, as Frankie Valiant. So let's go to that matchup right here tonight on the Mat. We got Steve Boz taking on Thunderfoot. Right, ponytail hanging around. Steve Boz trying to get back in there. Looks like somebody was tugging on his foot, Nicholas H. Okay, Thunderfoot back in there, beating down on Boz, getting them fisting. Thunderfoot, one heck of a competitor. First saw him down at the Classic Championship Wrestling Group. Now he wrestles all over for Windy City, for War, if I'm not mistaken, as well as Chicago. Okay, here we go. Nicholas H. at ringside, putting the boots to Steve Boz as the Thunder Feet. Big chop, tomahawk chop to the face, right to the top of the head. Down he goes. And a very arrogant cover. You're not going to get Steve Boz that way, Native American. Steve Boz chopping to the back as he's trying to get back in this thing. Short punch to the shoulder, big elbow drop. Okay, camera trying to follow. Now, that's not Trevor Blanchard, but that is Nicholas H. The referee is not Trevor Blanchard, but that is Nicholas H. Nicholas H. managing. Now, Nicholas H., are you in the corner of Thunderfoot or Steve Boz? Thunderfoot. Oh, he's running with that Native American he is. Okay, well, that's going to be interesting to see how things play themselves out here. The nasty Nicholas H. Wait a minute, Nicholas H. just comes in there and rakes. I think, what is he raking across the chest of Steve Boz? Was that a Bowie knife? Oh, my God, Nicholas H. Come on. he has to interject himself. If he's not got the stripes on and refereeing, he's got to interject himself as a manager. Now it's Chicagoland Pro Wrestling. Oh, now he's beating on Steve Boz from behind. Come on, Nicholas H. You know what? I got a feeling Frank the Tank is going to have some strong words for you. Intuitive power surge. Okay, here we go. Thunderfoot snatching up Steve Boz by the long hairs. That perfectly coiffed long hair of Steve Boz. Ow, man, what a kick to the back. Thunderfoot, the Native American. He's got that tomahawk chop in his arsenal. Big fist to the face at the Bozmeister. Steve Boz is down. The referee gets the 1-2. Boz just barely got a shoulder up, looks like. One, counting again. Boz gets shoulder up again. Thunderfoot is really trying to just, wrestle this guy to the ground. Do whatever he can to take out Steve Boz. Probably the fastest feet in Chicago. And one of the toughest guys in Chicago is Steve Boz. He did a great showing for himself this past week at Battle of the Belts. And here we are at Chicagoland Pro Wrestling. More information on them, fans, please go to chicagolandpro.org. All the information on a great up-and-coming promotion that's got a show coming up at the Stratford Banquet Hall in Harvard, Illinois on June 13th. Don't you dare miss it. Nicholas H. and all the stars of Chicagoland Pro are going to be in full force at the Stratford Banquet Hall in Harvard, Illinois. More information on them, go to chicagolandpro.org. Look at this. Steve Boz is trying to get back in this thing. Looks like that would be Thunderfoot's got some sort of a chokehold on him. Nicholas H. is just like very proud of his man Thunderfoot. Nicholas H. counting down the minutes. Yeah, rolling up his sleeves. And he's going to really get involved. Ducks the clothesline, does Boz. Flying crossbody. Down goes Thunderfoot. Nicholas H. is very upset. He's having a bad hair day, as it were. Flings him in. Oh, my God. Rolls him over. 1, 2. Only a 2. But, man, oh, man. Thunderfoot really taking it to Steve Boz. Now, I'm not mistaken, Nicholas H. These two have fought all over. They fought at war not too long ago. We ran a match with them at war. This is a feud brewing here. These two, they go at it wherever they are, and they're going at it right now at Chicagoland Pro, and Steve Boz is getting stomped on by the big, massive, size 15s of Thunderfoot. Yes, size 15. Nicholas H. now strangling Steve Boz at ringside. But who is this cameraman, Nicholas H.? Your son had to have been filming this because he's getting all your antics in, isn't he? Chris Hedford did a hell of a job that night, if I may say such a term. Here we go, big stomp to the midsection by Thunderfoot. I think Nicholas H. taught him that. Oh, man, what a knee. I think Thunderfoot is really punishing Steve Boz. We have not seen much offense from the Bozmeister, the man who I basically going to face with the fastest feet in Chicago. Steve Boz trying to get a kick up, trying to get back in this thing. He did kick him up. He reached up and kicked him in the top of the head twice with Steve Boz. A little dark in this arena, but I can see Steve Boz made contact with Thunderfoot's head. Now making some contact with Thunderfoot. Boz making them chops to fight his way back up into this thing. Boz with a big pop to the face. Chops him right across the face, does Steve Boz. He's bozzing up. Look at Steve Boz. He's bozzing up. He's punching down Thunderfoot. He's kicking him. He's getting back into this thing. And the referee says, get out of the corner, Boz. Chopping to the chest is the Bozmeister. Down to his knees falls Thunderfoot. And Nicholas H. swatting, trying to do whatever he can to help his man get back in there, wake him up, throwing the smelling salts, pounding on the ring, shaking his hair like a skunk tail at him. All right, talk about putting yourself over. Here we go, Thunderfoot with that reverse chin lock on Steve Boz. Oh, now he's just punishing and grinding the foot into the face of Steve Boz. Chicago wrestling at its best. Look at this, here he goes, drops that leg. Will he capitalize? Yep, cover 1, 2, only barely a 2. Boz got that shoulder up. Thunderfoot really taking it to Steve Boz. Everything in his arsenal. Chops, elbows, kicks, knees, you name it. What can he do to take out Steve Boz? Wait a minute. Down goes Thunderfoot. Steve Boz trying to see. Oh, Steve Boz gets one right in the middle of the ring. Thunderfoot attempting to capitalize, making his way up to the second turnbuckle. Now to the third rope. Big man in a short building. Up, tries to get his way up to the top. Gets interrupted by Steve Boz. Steve Boz climbing his way up. Sets him up. Looks like a possible suplex maneuver. Superplex off the second rope. Could it be? Down he goes. Look at that. Thunderfoot sort of got what he came for, as did Nicholas H. Now, what's Nicholas H doing now? Rushing the referee. Oh, he's trying to wait to revive. Thunderfoot. Give me that in there, Thunderfoot. Nicholas H. The logic of Nicholas H. Where's Billy Wack when you need him? Nicholas H. really trying to keep his man Thunderfoot in this thing here tonight. Steve Boz really taking a beating, I gotta say. I'm really surprised. Thunderfoot, a big young competitor, and he's giving Steve Boz one. Whoa! Swing and a miss. Boz runs under. Oh, and nails him with a clothesline. Boz with the feet. Boz with the flying boots. The fastest feet in Chi-Town. Flings him off. Reversal. There goes Boz. Ducks it. From behind. Uh-oh. Oh, my goodness. Drops him flat on his noggin right in the center of the ring. This is a pinning predicament. A little bit close to the ropes. I think Boz can have it here. What's Nicholas H. doing? Nicholas H. just put Thunderfoot's foot up on the ropes for him. So really, what has happened to Thunderfoot? This used to be a nice young kid, and Nicholas H. is what's happened to Thunderfoot, unfortunately. Okay, Steve Boz gets clutched by the face, dropped to his knees by the big man. Thunderfoot snaps him up. Tight suplex. Down he goes. 1, 2. Oh, only got the 2. Nice chain maneuvers. Steve Boz trying to get his way back in this thing. Thunderfoot with a knee. Flings him over. Boz reverses. Into the ref he goes. And down goes the referee. Thunderfoot from behind. Now, where's that sneaky Nicholas H. Now that the referee's out? Here we go. Twist the arm. Gets the boot. Flying feet. Steve Boz. This could be it. He's trying to, wait a minute, mounting himself. 1. There's Nicholas H. What is he doing here with that championship belt? Nicholas H. trying to make his way in there. Nicholas H. Wait a minute. Where's the, oh, we're getting a new official? Who's this? Wait, that's the guy for the audience? He can't count the... That's Frank the Tank? I don't know Frank the Tank from the way he looks now. Give you a goof. Talking to me about a goof. We'll get Billy Wack in here and set you straight. Anyhow, Frank the Tank, I've just been informed, just came in and has awarded the belt to Steve Boz. Nicholas H. is not very happy. Well, that's goes without saying. All right, here we go. Steve Boz. Now, did he just win this belt, Nicholas H.? You didn't tell me any of this. Steve Boz, the new champion. And Steve Boz, the new champion. Oh, okay. Frank the Tank came in, counted the 10, interrupted this thing. What are we going to have here? Nicholas H. not too happy. Steve Boz has got that belt. Now Nicholas H. has got a belt of his own. They're both brandishing them. And now here comes this, I believe, the ring announcer. Let's go to the ring announcer.
Just inform me that the actual winner via disqualification, the Thunderfoot.
Steve Boz knocked down Matt Burns, the referee. So Matt Burns is reversing the decision, therefore still your champion at Chicagoland Pro Wrestling. Nicholas H., the aforementioned goof. We got to get Billy Wack in here next week to start setting you straight and get more lights in that arena next time, Nicholas H. How you like that, goofball? All right. Now, we got CLPW. That'll teach you. We got CLPW on June 13th, a big show, Chicagoland Pro Wrestling. Go to chicagolandpro.org for more information on that. And it's at the Stratford Banquet Hall in Harvard, Illinois. Now, from what I understand, after this match we just saw, Frank the Tank Melson, who came in there and basically set things straight, got the whole match back on track, and did the right thing, I'm going to come right out and say. Frank the Tank is going to make a hair versus hair match. Fans, let go to that footage.
You seem like you wanted to get into the ring a lot during this match.
you least suspect that's going to take that primo hair of yours. Trust me when I say it. I'll do it this one time, and that's it. Then I'm going to finally end POZ.
Okay, so we'll put a little more twist on this. We'll invite Lots of Love to take either one of your guys' lots. So, the 13th of June, hair versus hair.
And if I do win, when I do win, I get a title rematch for Thunderfoot's little title there.
I can do that too. I'm the promoter.
Nicholas H. versus Steve Boz. Nick, I'm going to go out on a limb here and tell you right now, before that match on June 13th at the Stratford Banquet Hall in beautiful, beautiful Harvard, Illinois, Nick, you need to go to a fine stylist, I mean a really good stylist, and get that hair straightened, just like Steve Boz. Or if you can't afford a good stylist, you can come over to my house. My aunts back in East Chicago would take an ironing board, you know, when Cher was popular, and they would iron their hair. I think that's what Steve does. I think he irons his hair. You need to iron your hair for that match, because I'm telling you, that would up your Von Erich quotient just a little bit. So Nicholas H., I hope you're going to wear a singlet, right? You're going to wear some kind of like, right? You're going to show some guns, right, Nicholas H.?
I got my guns.
Show some guns. I think you ought to even go lighter. You should dye it blonde before you get it shaved off altogether.
But obviously Steve Boz has something to say, so maybe we should roll that footage.
Oh, you say Steve Boz has got something to say in retort?
Yes.
Well, let's go to Steve Boz right here, Nicholas H., tonight on the Mat. Thank you very much.
Steve Boz. Steve Boz.
Dude, let me call you back.
On the phone. Billy Wack from On the Mat.
How you doing, Billy?
We've known each other for years. Hey, look, as you well know, Nicholas H. is the producer of On the Mat. I know.
He does a great job on the show.
Really? You think?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway, hey, so I heard there's some stuff going down with you and him, like in CLPW. What's happening? Give the fans, give the viewers of On the Mat, let them know.
You really haven't heard what's going on?
Well, no, I haven't.
For you fans out there that don't know, this is a joke. He actually thinks he's going to wrestle the BOZ hair for hair. He challenged me. I didn't challenge him. He challenged me. Now, if the BOZ does beat him June 13th, not only do I cut his hair, I wrestle Thunderfoot for the title. So that night, we'll have lots of hair, flowing locks.
But wait,
You can use a little of that.
and then, that's good. Wait.
BOZ is bringing the title back from CLPW.
Well, my question is, I mean, obviously, if Nicholas H. is going to put his hair on the line, you know, obviously he must be thinking he might have an ace up his sleeve. I mean, are you worried at all? What if some craziness happens and he brass knucks or something? Like, what? Are you ready for everything?
I'm ready, and I got people watching my back at CLPW.
Awesome. Good to hear. Well, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing a bald Nicholas H. around these parts pretty soon. Thank you very much, Mr. Boz.
Hey, you guys can tag soon.
Watching that footage, I'm on your side now, Nick. I'm in your corner. I hope you shave Boz's pretty little head. Anybody that takes that much time on their hair and in a tanning salon needs to have a little knockdown. So shave his head. Do whatever you got to do. I'm telling you, Nick, I know you can do it. All right, just this past week, we're going to come up to the interview with Paul the Butcher Vachon we did, and we were out at Cauliflower Alley Club, me and Nicholas H. It was a great time. Also, I got to do a little opener in front of the Gold Coast Hotel where we got to stay. Gives you a great flavor of where we were, and me and Nicholas H. out in Vegas was a ball. Beautiful women. Talked about it before, and we're going to talk about it again. Okay, and hopefully we'll be back next year. What are we doing? We're winding up for this interview with Paul the Butcher Vachon and Ritchard T. at the Gold Coast. Woo-woo! All right, wrestling fans, Ritchard T. Sin here, joined by Paul the Butcher Vachon. You've had quite a storied wrestling career. Tell the fans who don't know some of the different places you've worked. I remember you from WWF. Can you tell the fans some of the different places you've worked, some of your great experiences in the sport of kings, sir?
My goodness, we wouldn't have enough time. I just got through writing the third book about, it was a trilogy about my life and my wrestling career. And I wrestled for 32 years professionally, and I wrestled over the years 6,000 matches in 33 different countries all around the world, and I was counting the continents. I wrestled in North America, of course. I wrestled in Australia, that's 2 continents. I wrestled in India, which would be Asia, that's 3 continents. I wrestled also in Europe, and and that's another continent, of course. I think the only place I never wrestled was in Africa, where there would have been people. I went to Africa, but I never wrestled there. Wrestled all over the place, and one time I had the world record for drawing the biggest crowd ever in Karachi, Pakistan. I wrestled Aslam Bolu in front of 85,000 people at a soccer stadium in Karachi, Pakistan. And that was way back in 1963, 64. But my record didn't stand very long because just a year and a half later, George Gordienko and Al Kashi, I believe, wrestled in front of 450,000 people in Baghdad, Iraq. So that was one of the experiences I was happy to be around for, and as I said, I wrestled all over the world. I now, you know, what do old wrestlers do once they quit? I mean, if you're a mechanic or if you're a doctor, you can work until you're 75, 80 years old, but when you're a wrestler and your back has been broken so many times that you can't. I quit, I was actually 49 years old, and I'm now married to a Marine Staff Sergeant. Her name is Dina Goddard, and we do fairs and festivals. I'm still a peddler. Huh. I peddle therapeutic magnets, healing magnets, and all sorts of things like that. And, you know, my point is, what does a wrestler do? I was 50 years old when I quit, so I didn't. I built a house in the woods, my wife and I, a log end house in the Green Mountains, and
in Canada.
Actually, it's in Canada, yes, but just about a mile from the Vermont border, and that's where I was raised, on a farm. And I wound up with part of the property, and I built a house, a log end house. We don't have enough time to explain how that works, but in any case, we sat there, and we, after building the house, took us about a year to build the whole thing, and we said, well, this is nice. What are we going to do now? So we looked at the mountain for a while, and after a while, I said, well, I got to be doing something else.
Butcher Vachon, we are sitting here in an actual banquet hall.
Yes,
the last time I saw you in a banquet hall was your wedding, and it turned into a crazy, freaky food fight, cake fight. You're not going to bust out anything tonight at the Bologna Blowout. Is there going to be a food fight tonight?
Actually, this would be a good place for it. You got all kinds of old-time wrestlers. You got 500-600 people just going for the Bologna Blowout. Did you explain to your viewers why we call it the Bologna Blowout?
Because, no, sir. Could you?
Well, yes, I'll elaborate on that. After, in the early days of wrestling, we used to travel 4 or 5 wrestlers by car. There was no such thing as plane traveling. I'm talking about way back in the early 50s and before that. And they'd go from one place to the other, and they would travel right after the matches. They'd hurry up, get a 6-pack of beer and a bunch of bologna, and they'd, on the way home, they wouldn't have to stop in restaurants and stuff like that at night because most of them were closed. We had a bologna blowout every night, a 6-pack of beer and a couple of pounds of bologna, and this is where the bologna blowout comes from. That's why they call it that here. We're having a bologna blowout. And now, what was I talking about?
Talking about the Bologna Blowout, yeah, and then the cake fight and some of the great
and
you brought to us fans over the years, and we're proud on the mat and for Cauliflower Alley Club to bring you here and let the fans get a little insight into true wrestling history with Butcher Vachon.
Actually, listen, I was a great friend of Vince McMahon Sr., the man that's there now is Junior. I knew him too. I knew him as a teenager, and later on, later in my career, I decided I was going to get married for the 3rd time, and Vince says, "Hey, this is Vince Jr." He said, "Paul," he says, "let's have it at the Gardens, you know, at the Madison Square Garden in New York." In any case, we were going to do that. We were going to have a big thing at Madison Square Garden, get married in the middle of the ring, and my wife-to-be, she didn't want to do that. As a matter of fact, she says, let's call the whole thing off. So I called Vince and I said, it had been planned. I said, Vince said, don't worry, Butcher. He says, we're going to have it anyway. He says, we're going to hire an actress, and he says, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it at the Madison Square Garden. He says, we're going to do it on TV, and it'll be shown all over the world. And how right was he? Because it's been showing all over the world ever since that. Not a day goes by where people say, I saw you when you got married on TV. They sell it on videotape now.
Oh, yeah.
All over. I watched it a couple of times. It was really, really hilarious. And one of the funniest parts, it was the midget, Sky Lolo. He got drunk like everybody else, and he's standing on top of the table, and everybody's throwing pies at him, and he's getting hit, and he's getting really mad. And I mean, he was really mad, poor little guy. But in any case, it turns out that after the thing was over, I said, and they taped it, of course, and I told Vince, I said, you're not going to show that on TV, are you? I mean, it was hilarious. We had a lot of fun, you know. And Jesse Ventura was there, Captain Lou Albano, he was my best man, everybody, Mula was there, my daughter Luna was there, all kinds of characters. I'm trying to think of the guy from California that walked with a cane after a while, had the blonde hair. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Great stuff, though. Great stuff. And the famous Wrestling Vachon family, as represented by Butcher Vachon here at Cauliflower Alley Club. Butcher, I thank you for your time, sir.
You're very welcome.
And we'll see you next year.
Anytime.
Welcome, wrestling fans, to the Cauliflower Alley Club official video. This is Ritchard T. Sin for On the Mat Productions, standing right out in front of the Gold Coast Casino, the home to this year's Cauliflower Alley Club. Fans, we are bringing you some of the biggest names in pro sports to date. People like Harley Race, Red Bastien, Mad Dog Vachon, Paul the Butcher Vachon, Luna Vachon, ODB from TNA, Awesome Kong. They were all there. I'm telling you, this is going to be the On the Mat to beat on the mats, the Cauliflower Alley Club video to beat them all. Ritchard T. Sin, Nicholas H. were there. Billy Whack, you weren't, but you know what? We had one hell of a party right here in Vegas, Daddy, and we'll see you next year at Cauliflower Alley Club. All right, wrestling fans, thanks for watching that interview with Paul the Butcher Vachon. What a guy. Back to Battle of the Belts. Yes, we were there. Nicholas H. was there. He refereed a couple matches. Chris Hedford, our own camera aficionado, he was there filming the thing. I'm telling you, it was a barn burner. We all had a ball, and it's great to rub elbows with our pro wrestling brothers. And this match right here tonight, we got Sean Mulligan, the Battle Royal champion, taking on Austin Roberts, the heavyweight championship, on the line from Battle of the Belts.